Destined Rivals is here, which means I finally get to play with a card I've been really anticipating for a long time, and that's Ethan's Typhlosion. I love single prize decks a lot, and this is a card that I just think is super, super cool and really, really interesting. It's very similar to Leon's Charizard in the past, but the attack Buddy Blast is really ridiculous. One, because it has a dumb name, but two, it's really powerful for how dumb the name is, where what we do is we do 40 damage, but then we do 60 more damage for each Ethan's Adventure card in our discard pile. So if we have 4 of our Ethan's Adventures in our discard pile, which is pretty easy to do, we're hitting for 280 damage from a single prize, single energy attack. And this is really good because there's a lot of cards that combo with this to make this even stronger. One of those cards is going to be Victini, where we're able to get this out with our Buddy Poffin, but what's important is that we get the Victory Cheer, and Victory Cheer is going to make that 10 points stronger, so we're going to be hitting for 290. This is really convenient because of the fact that we do run a Gravity Mountain. Actually, we run multiple copies of Gravity Mountain, so that way if we're up against something like Dracopult or other stage 2 decks, we drop them down by 30, making it so we are one-shotting them with the Victini on board. But in case we don't have the Gravity Mountain, we do have access to Kieran as well in order to boost that damage. Now, finding these pieces can be a little bit tiresome, and so the way we're going to get around that is by playing the A-Spec Secret Box, since when we discarded 3 other cards from our hand, which will be pretty easy to do, we're going to be able to get ourselves an item, a Pokemon tool card, a supporter card, and a stadium card. So between the 2 of them, our stadium is going to find us the stadium is going to get us the Gravity Mountain. Our tool card could even be Vitality Band in case we don't have something like the Victini. And we can even find ourselves a Kieran, or if we need to, we can even find ourselves an Ethan's Adventure in order to find ourselves our other pieces. We are playing 2 boss because we want to make sure that once we knock out one Dracopult, we're just really abusing the lower HP Pokemon that they put on the bench, things like Fezandipiti. We want to be able to have access to research because we want to get our Ethans in the discard pile as quickly as possible. And then last but not least, one card that I think is really fun in this deck and very important is the Redeemable Ticket. This card sucks in almost every other deck, but in this one it matters because you're able to count your prize cards, shuffle them, and then put them on the bottom of your deck, and then take that many cards from the top of your deck and put them face down as your prize cards. This is very important because it means that if we get very unlucky and we prize a bunch of Ethan's Adventures, we're able to put those back into our deck and be able to discard them later on. I think this deck is a ton of fun. Shaymin being in the game helps a lot against Terrabox, and also it helps a lot against things like Zoroark EX and being able to snipe the bench, so our Shaymin is very important now, as well as the fact that we get to use the Dudunsparce in order to run away draw. But yeah, that's going to be the... Oh, last thing to touch on as well, Ethan's Quilava has the Bounded by the Journey ability, which allows us to search our deck for an Ethan's Adventure card, reveal it, put it into our hand, and be able to either A, play it, or B, discard it, which works out really well. And lastly, to cover that card, because I feel like I didn't even bother to talk about it, is Ethan's Adventure. You get to search your deck for up to 3 in any combination of Ethan's Pokemon and basic Fire Energy cards. This is why we play a pretty low Fire Energy count, because we only need 1 in order to attack with, and we're able to search it out with our Ethans, which we're going to be playing anyway. We do play 3 copies of the Night Stretcher in order to get back our energy if we need to, and our Typhlosions, because typically you want to have like your Typhlosions on board and then 1 Quilava, so you can always get into a new one. But yeah, that's going to be the list, guys. Be sure to let me know what you think. I'm very, very excited for Destined Rivals. I feel like there's a ton of new stuff to play, and I'm very excited to do it. So be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and make sure you hit the notification bell so that way you get to see all these kind of new decks that we're going to be trying out. I'm very excited, so I'm going to be pumping these videos out as quickly as I can, so be on the lookout for that. For everything else, I want to give a special shout out to the channel members. Thank you guys so much for the additional level of support. It really does go a long way and means a lot. But I'll stop yapping now. I'm just really excited to get into the game, and so I will see you guys all in game number 1 in a second. But last announcement, just let me know what decks you want to see from the new set, so that way I can cover those with priority instead of just kind of playing whatever kind of jumps to my mind. But yeah, that's about it for my yapping, and I'll see you guys in game number 1 in a second. Peace. Alright, we're into game number 1. Our opponent's going to be going first. We did win the coin flip, opted to go second. The main reason why I want to do this is A, we do have access to Budew, and so being able to go second when you have Budew access is pretty important. We see Metacham EX from our opponent. That's pretty interesting. But B, I want to be able to use my Ethan's Adventures as quickly as possible, so that way I'm able to get into the pieces I want to be able to get into, start getting attacks off as quickly as possible. I have the Rare Candy already, as well as the Buddy Poffins. So all of that is going to be very nice for me. I'll be able to go Buddy Poffin for like Cyndaquil. I'll probably honestly just go double Cyndaquil. We'll see what I top deck though. There's a Monkey Dory that makes sense. See a Nest Ball for probably like a Mankey. Wasn't really expecting that. The Tealmask Ogerpon, or sorry, Cornerstone rather. Cornerstone's not really that bad for us to have to go up against because Ethan's Typhlosion will be able to KO it. Getting into double Night Stretcher is a little bit disappointing, but I can grab myself double Quilava here, and I kind of want to just hold on to the Ethans, but I am gonna play it and just kind of hope that they don't have a just hope they don't have Iono. We'll be able to go Budew here for Itchy Pollen because I can KO this on my next turn. Drag off. That's interesting. There's Crispin, because I'll be able to Rare Candy to this. We'll be doing 120 plus 40, 180. I'll be short 10. So I should attack with Budew one more time. Oh, never mind. We do get Ultra Ball. So we'll evolve that. Make our Quilava. Get ourselves our Ethans. We'll go place the Ethans down. I think we grab ourselves this, this, and this. We'll go Cyndaquil. And then how much damage are we doing? We have 2, so 120 plus 40. Right? So no matter what, we're short. So I think what the play is, we're going to attach an energy here. We're going to pass because I don't think they have anything they can actually do anyway. And if I attack, the Monkey Dory is just going to move the damage back and our Budew's going to get KO'd. But in the next turn, I can use this Quilava to find myself another Ethans. I don't even need to bother to play it. I can just go ahead and Ultra Ball it away. Grab myself a... what's it called? I can grab myself a Victini. And pretty much be good to go from there. Or if they do KO my Budew on this turn, I can Ultra Ball for like Fezandipiti or something. So we'll see what they choose to do. Kind of an interesting deck from on their part. But it seems like they're kind of stuck. Yeah, they passed regardless. So we made the right play. We'll go Quilava down. We'll go Bonded by the Journey. Grab that. Then what we can do is we'll go Bonded by the Journey again. Alright, so one of them is prized. For right now, that's not as important. And I won't need Kieran. I'm pretty positive I can bring this in. 160 plus another 60. Yeah, that'll be enough. So I don't actually need to play this down. But I don't get anything from it regardless, so we will play it just to help thin our deck out. We'll grab this, and one more Cyndaquil. Place that down. We'll go for the 220. Knocking out the Cornerstone. Grabbing ourselves 2 prizes. We did not find the... we didn't find the last ethans that we wanted, but that's okay. We have the Victini, as well as another Fire Energy. We have Typhlosion on the bench. We do have access to Kieran, so we have the ability to boost upwards to 40 damage. We're already hitting for 220, so we can hit for 260. If we have to retreat into the Budew, that is possible. We also have Ultra Ball as well, but I feel like this is going to be a concede from our opponent. Seems like they don't have much going for them, but we were able to ramp really quickly, which is something that this deck does really well. Like, the reality, too, is, like, the slower the game is, and this is where, like, Budew comes into play, being able to make our opponent's early game weaker, you're able to slow the game down, use your ethans, and then your ethans just gives you so much value. Like, being able to get, like, double Quilava out on the board, especially while they're under item lock, is super strong. Like, right now we don't have other item or other supporters that we'd rather play, so it's like it's fine to play ethans. But had we decided that, like, let's say we had research in hand, or an Arven or a boss or whatever, or not a boss, like a research or something, it's fine because we could even go double Quilava, add both ethans, and then go Ultra Ball, discard them both, get ourselves something else that we do want. So that's the other thing, like, Ultra Ball gets a lot of value in this deck, because you can use ethans as just straight discard fodder that Quilava's always going to search you out. But I feel like our opponents definitely conceded. They're not really playing the game. They're not really doing anything. So I will... Yep, alright. I was going to say I'll just cut to game number 2, but I don't have to now. We'll just jump right into it. And we'll probably do a game 3, because that one was really short. But I just want to show the effectiveness of the ethans and Quilava combo. But yeah, we'll jump into game 2 in a second, and I'll see you guys there. Peace. Alright, we're into game number 2, and our opponent opted to go first. Cool Giovanni sleeves. We get a Cyndaquil. We only have an energy, though it's not too bad. I assume this is going to be like Team Rocket's Mewtwo. Crazy that they already have this. The set has been out for like an hour, so they spent a lot of points to be able to get this. Ooh, Team Rocket gets Mimikyu. I was really hype on this card actually in Gardevoir, but I don't. Ooh, there's special sound effects for all the Team Rocket stuff. That's pretty interesting. I was pretty hype on this, but I don't know if I am anymore. I was really hype on it in Gardevoir, but I think Mew just kind of does the same thing, but Mew's a little bit harder to use, I guess, but it gives you more value, but it is a 2-prizer. So I don't know, I'm going back and forth on if I want this in my Guardy deck or not. Alright, popping ethans here is not that bad. We get another copy of Quilava, which is nice. We can go energy onto... I'm gonna go onto the one on the bench. I will have access to Ultra Ball. I don't think Ultra Ball gets me anything right now, though. So we'll pass, but I can go double Quilava on the next turn. Get myself double ethans, discard those, potentially. If they move into the active and KO me with the order, that is what it is. Alright, they make the Mewtwo. Buddy Poffin. I would love to be able to draw Buddy Poffin. Cards revealed. What does this do? Alright, so they're using my Budew. That's actually pretty funny. But not that bad, because I'm going to be able to go double Quilava no matter what. I can actually boss the Spidops up on this turn as well. Though, again, I won't be able to go Ethans if I do that. But I'm not that worried about this. I think I do boss this. I'll attack just to put some damage, but I'm not KOing it regardless. The reality is, like, I'm not going to get item locked again, so on the next turn, I can go Ultra Ball, get rid of both of the Ethans. That's fine with me. I'm muting these effects. They're actually getting very annoying very quickly. I guess I'll leave them a little bit lower, but... we'll see what else the... because I don't think there's an attack in my deck that matters for it to use. Yeah, like it did 30, who cares? Ethan's doesn't really matter that much. Kieran's is nice. I can use one for now. Yeah, I'll grab this. I'll hold on to the rest of this, because right now I'm only hitting for 160. But I'm putting this in range that I will be able to KO it. The reality is that I want to get into a position where I can KO the Mewtwo. Which I will be able to do if I can just get to... if I can get one more Ethans into hand, because I can go Ultra Ball. But if they KO me, I get to bring in Typhlosion here. I can go Ultra Ball for, like, Fezandipiti or something. They're still going hurried, like, hurry order. Does 90, so I'm going to be able to get the first KO here. That's actually pretty decent. We get Rare Candy, which is nice, means I will be able to Night Stretcher. Again, I'm just going to go for this. We'll grab the energies out of my deck. Place that. It allows me to do 220. Taking the knockout. And grabbing double prizes. Where I get the Redeemable Ticket, as well as a Quilava that's kind of nice. Actually, that's really nice, because I can go Quilava, search out my other Ethans, discard it with Ultra Ball, go Fez potentially, bring in this other Typhlosion, make it so I don't actually need the Rare Candy. So, like, that's something I can discard. The Bomb is such a bad card. Yeah, I'm in a really good position now. They kind of trolled by using the hurry orders so many times. Though it did hit Budew, and that was good for them, I guess. Alright, so first things first, we'll go Quilava here. We'll Bond by the Journey, and now let's search our deck. We do have Fezandipiti. That's really the main thing that we were looking for. So we can go Ultra, get rid of this at this point. Grab ourselves the Fez. Where we're really hoping for Buddy Poffin, but like if we can't get that, it's like not that big a deal. We'll play Cyndaquil down so that way we can keep access to the Quilava. We can always go Night Stretcher for it. at a later turn. We do get ourselves the Buddy Poffin as well as an Arven. We will Buddy at this point for the double Dudunsparce. The highest HP they're going to have is 280, so we don't have to worry about that all that much. We do have access to Arven as well. We can go ahead and Arven. Grabbing Secret Box isn't really terrible. It's not incredible either. Is there something else we'd rather have? We don't really need the Iono. I think I'm going to grab Ultra Ball, and this is really just so that way I can grab out the Dudunsparce at a later turn if I like really have to. I'll go 1 energy down onto the Cyndaquil, and we'll knock out the Mewtwo EX, grabbing ourselves 2 prizes. There's our last Typhlosion, so we don't even need a Night Stretcher for it. We can just go Rare Candy right to it. And that's going to be game because we can probably... I guess I could have added Pokégear. I could have added Pokégear to my hand, maybe tried to hit boss so that way I could pull up the Mewtwo EX. That could have been the play. But we can Ultra Ball, look to thin our hand out. Never mind. Yeah, I have 1 more boss in deck. Or at least I should. So we'll see. This deck does 30 damage for each Team Rocket's Pokemon in play. That does do enough to KO us. Brings them into 4 prizes. I guess I'll do this. I'm just looking to thin my hand. There's an Arven. We'll go Rare Candy. We'll go Ultra Ball real quick. Get rid of this and the Kieran because it doesn't really matter. This is mostly just to thin our deck. I'm going to grab myself the Dudunsparce. The main reason for this is that I'd rather thin this now. Be able to go flip the script for 3. And then go to Dunsparce. Because we're really just trying to hit boss's orders here. I'm going to do this again. We don't need this anymore. We don't need Counter Catcher because it's not going to matter. And we're already 2 ahead. For it to matter, there is a chance that we can get boss here. So we are going to go for it. We'll run away draw. We do get the boss's orders as well as the Secret Box, which means we can go boss, pull up the Mewtwo EX, go Buddy Blast, take the knockout, and close out the game. Which worked out for us. I mean, that's why we sequenced that the way we did. We wanted to make sure that we thinned our deck as much as possible as we kind of continue to dig deeper. That was kind of fun. They made the mistake of doing hurried orders a couple more turns than they probably needed to, but I don't know. I mean, it did Budew us, and that was kind of good for them, but at the same time, had they started applying pressure, things could have gone slightly different. I feel like that was still going to work out in our favor. Also, that matchup's definitely pretty decent for us, I feel like, because of the option to just KO the... being able to KO the Mewtwo EX with pretty easy, standing, just being able to one-shot it right away without any damage manipulation needed or anything like that. But yeah, alright, we'll jump into game number 3 in a second, mostly because I'm really enjoying playing this, and 2, the first game was kind of whack. But yeah, we'll jump into game 3 in a second, and I'll see you guys there. Peace. Alright, we're into game 3. Our opponent's going to be going first again. We'll see what we get. We do get ourselves a Shaymin. We get Buddy Poffin, Rare Candy. We do have Typhlosion. We'll go ahead and play the Shaymin down rather than the Fez. Our opponent is going to mulligan. We're up against Charizard EX. That's pretty interesting. Means we will need a little bit of damage manipulation, but not anything too insane. The 130 number is slightly harder to hit, which means we're going to need to focus down with like a Kieran in order to deal with the Charizard EX, but at the same time, it's not going to be the worst thing in the world, because we will have access to knocking out things like a Fezandipiti if they have it, by bossing that up and looking for a boss or a counter catcher onto bossing up or counter catching like the Pidgeot as well. So we do have a pretty okay, you know, kind of line of play to go for. We don't have any energy, which is a little bit unfortunate because I'd love to be able to go Budew here for obvious reasons, but for right now we're just going to have to go Cyndaquil into Dunsparce. We'll hold on to the Fez for right now. Since they're going to probably want to go Cleffa anyway, we're fine for right now. Shaymin is going to be a dead card, and we can just let it get sacked if we have to. Interesting they're attaching the fire energy, but I guess it does make sense. They do have Rare Candy right away. If they start applying pressure, that's going to be slightly more difficult for us. We see the Infernal Rain. If they put energy onto the Charmander, that will be slightly harder to deal with. They do, because we can't now boss trap it if we had to. If they knock this out, though, we will go to Dunsparce. Great Iono play from them. That's definitely going to hurt us. But we'll see what we get after. We do get ourselves into Budew, as well as a Dudunsparce and Buddy Poffin. We're going to have to give up a prize, but it will help slow it down, so the game is not as hard for us, as well as getting the counter catcher, so we can counter up the Pidgey. If they don't have an energy, it will be kind of locked there. We could potentially get into like Ethans and stuff like that, but this is looking like it'll be a little bit harder for us than we might have hoped for. So we'll go ahead and play this down. We'll go Buddy Poffin. We'll grab ourselves double Cyndaquil, so we'll have triple for now, which again isn't the most ideal thing in the world, but it is what we kind of have to deal with right now. We'll go ahead and Runaway Draw, where we do get a Pokégear. We'll bring Budew in. Yeah, we'll go Pokégear here. We do find ourselves in Ethans. I think I'm fine playing that down. This is also to give us an opportunity to search through our deck. We'll grab ourselves double Quilava and an energy, and we'll search through our deck, see what else we find. We do have access to only one Dunsparce, but that's something we knew before. We do have all three Ethans, as well as Gravity Mountain and Secret Box in our deck. So that does give us some pathways here as well. We do have one other thing that we do have access to, so we're going to go ahead and grab this. We'll go Pidgey to the active. We can go for the Bound by the Journey, grab this. What I really want to do is on the next turn go for another copy of Ethans. We'll go... yeah, we'll go energy down onto that. That's fine. And we'll start the item lock. So if they don't have an energy, it's going to be pretty difficult for them to get the Pidgey out of hand. Or out of the active. They could have a Tauros, but I doubt they play a Switch. There's a Jock that will get them the Pidgeotto, and which will allow them to retreat. They go... Never mind. They already have the Dusclops. That's interesting. Wasn't really expecting that, if I'm honest, after I saw the Dusknoir to hand, but that's okay. Curse Blast, I assume onto the Budew. Yep. There's the Ultra Ball. That's actually kind of nice because it's going to get another Ethans into our discard pile, which means we will have the potential to get all of our Ethans in the discard pile. Because we're going to go Quilava here. And then I think what the play is going to be is we'll go Bound by the Journey, grab ourselves Ethans, Bound by the Journey, grab another Ethans, and then from here we'll play the Ethans down. We'll go Ultra Ball, get rid of those. Grab ourselves Fez. Play the Fez, flip the script. Where we get ourselves Secret Box, we do get ourselves another Quilava. We can go Secret, get rid of this, and we'll get rid of the Rescue Board. Use that to grab ourselves Gravity Mountain, Vitality Band, Buddy Poffin, Boss's Orders. We'll go Buddy Poffin for Victini Dunsparce. We have all 4 ethines in the discard pile. Which is good for us for right now. I think we go energy down. We'll do the 50 damage to knock out the Pidgey. Even our prize trade. And then on the next turn, we should have everything we need to be able to knock out this Charizard. Because we'll be doing 180, 190, 300, 330. If we get Iono, that's unfortunate. But I want to make sure that we're dealing with the Pidgey. And that we'll have a 1 prizer in the active. They can go for boss onto the Fez, but that'll bring them down to 2 prizes. And it'll leave us with a bunch of other 1 prizers like available. I would like to get into Iono, but I can't remember if it's in my deck. Like if I can go to Iono, put them to 2, especially when they won't have access to Pidgeot, that would be very ideal. But right now, if they have to knock out the Quilava, it'll put them to 3 prize cards left. I'll come in, knock out the Charizard. That'll put me to 2. Even if they bring in our Ursaluna, that's fine. We one-shot that. We will have the potential ability to one-shot the Charizard as well. But we don't even have to. We'll just be able to boss up the Ursaluna. They accelerate all the energy. They go Burning Darkness, so they do take the 1 prizer. That actually works out really, really well for us. We'll be able to go into our Quilava. So we'll bring that in. We'll bring in the one with the energy already on it. We get a Rare Candy. We don't really need that, though. I'm fine playing the Dunsparce down. We're going to go ahead and flip the script. We do have access to Arven if we really needed it, but in this case, we're going to be able to go Typhlosion. We'll go Gravity Mountain for 190. So again, like I said, we'll be 10 short, but then we get to play the Vitality Band. That brings us up to 300. We'll go and grab ourselves the Dudunsparce. From here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the Dunsparce on board. What I'll do is I'll go Arven. This is mostly just to get cards out of our deck that we're not really going to need. We'll grab the Buddy Poffin. This is to put this at the bottom in case we get Iono'd. We'll still have access to Fez and Dudunsparce available post us getting Iono'd. So we'll go for the Buddy Blast. Grab ourselves 2 cards. There's a Kieran and a Fire Energy, which is perfect because Kieran allows us to knock this out even if they, get rid of the Gravity Mountain and stuff like that. But the reality is that we're really just looking to be able to boss up this Ursaluna now at this point. If they knock out the Typhlosion and the active, we get to go for the we get to go Night Stretcher. We do have Switch if they look to trap. We have the Dunsparce on bench. We aren't at any threat of a Duskull line or anything like that. If we were, we would have had to deal with that on the last turn. Realistically. Or in that case, like, it would have been harder. We would have had to go... We wouldn't have been able to play this Dunsparce down, and we would have had to go for... we would have had to play this just to kind of clear it off the board, look to get ourselves like another Typhlosion to pull ourselves out of the Duskull line. But I didn't think that they would have it regardless. There's the Dusclops. But I think this game's won for us. Even if they go Blood Moon into Fez, that's fine. Because we just bring Typhlosion back in. Yep. So they go for the Blood Moon. They go down to 1 prize left. We bring our Typhlosion back in. And just a bad manner, we're going to go Boss's Orders, pull this up. Just show that we had it, no matter what would have happened that game. And we'll do the 300 damage that's needed to knock out the Charizard EX. There's our other Victini, which would have been our other win con. So if they, you know, if the Victini wasn't prized, obviously, one of the other plays that you can make is, like, let's say that our Typhlosion with the Vitality Band was knocked out, and we're short that 10 damage. It's like, all right, cool, we'll just search out another Victini, and then I'll make up the 10 damage. But yeah, that's going to be game number 3. Got a little bit behind in the early game, but we were able to pull it out. The damage from Ethans is just so high, and the versatility is really nice, especially going on 1 prizers. The only real 2 prize liability that you play is Fezandipiti, so it still requires your opponent to take 4 other knockouts, and that can definitely lead them into like awkward positions like that, where like they ended up on 1 prize anyway, even with knocking out the Fez and bossing that up, which is nice because it gives you time to get behind, but this deck doesn't really have that much of a problem, like accelerating and just doing a bunch of damage. But yeah, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Or not it for the video. We'll get into the breakdown in a second, but that's going to be it for the games anyway. But yeah, I will see you guys in the breakdown in a second. So yeah, peace. When doing the breakdown for Ethan's Typhlosion, first off, I just want to say this deck is unbelievably fun, and if you haven't been considering this deck, please give it a try. It's awesome. But yeah, so going into the breakdown, fun, 5 out of 5. I love this deck. It's definitely going to be the deck that I play the most during this format. I think it's really, really good. We'll have to wait and see how the meta kind of shakes out, but I think it's great, and I'm going to be playing a ton of this deck alongside Guardian and stuff like that at events. So yeah, definitely give this deck a chance if you haven't considered it. Going into power, it's 5 out of 5. This deck can pretty much one-shot everything in the entire format. It doesn't really struggle at all. There's like pieces that go into getting these knockouts, but it's not that hard to set up. Your deck is kind of built around making sure they happen. Ethan's is a shockingly good consistency card, so it's like not even that bad to have to use them early, and being able to get into all your pieces is like not that hard to do. So the damage that you're able to hit, like being able to hit 300, which is really like 330 or plus because of Grav Mountain and stuff like that, is really, really nice. You don't really care about playing Grav Mountain because you're only 170 hit points anyway. You're going to get knocked out regardless, so like who cares if you're 30 less. But being able to go in and just knock stuff out, like Charizard, like Dracopult, like Guardy, in one, for 1 energy is super, super powerful, especially coming from a 1 prize attacker, which is like, we don't have a lot of that in the format right now. So that really helps out a lot. Going into consistency, I am going to give it a 4 out of 5. This is really where the deck can have issues. This is mostly due to the fact that like you do need your Ethans, so if you get unlucky and just prize them, that can really suck. And like your damage is situational in the sense that, you need your Kieran or your Black Belt if you're playing that instead, or your Grav Mountain or whatever the case may be. But if you already, have those things, or you know, they're not prized, then it's pretty easy to do. But if some of the stuff is prized, it can kind of mess you up. So for consistency, I'm going to put that at 4 out of 5 rather than 5 out of 5. The Ethans early isn't even that bad. Like, getting double Quilava just helps so much. So it's definitely very, very good. Matchups, I think this deck does not have that many matchups against the field that are difficult. Terrabox is a problem. I could recommend playing Monkey Dory potentially for that matchup itself, or running like an Ethan Toho or something like that. But honestly, I think you just kind of accept that matchup, because the reality is it's not even that terrible, because you're not playing 2 prize Pokemon. So they're going to have to go Iron Hands, and you need way less to be able to deal with Iron Hands. So if that's the kind of situation they're in, it's like not that terrible, but it's not great. There's a couple matchups that are a little bit harder, but overall, I think your matchup spread isn't really that bad. There's nothing that's like water that's going to like just super abuse you early, outside of something like a Wellspring Ogerpon being really annoying, like being able to snipe and stuff like that and like knock out your active. But you do have Shaymin, so that's going to bypass that. So yeah, I think this deck is in a phenomenal position. If you haven't given it a shot, please do so. Definitely check out the list, try it out for yourself. It'll be down in the description. And yeah, that's enough of me rambling and gushing over this deck. It's a ton of fun, so be sure, like I said, to check it out. And I will see you guys all in the next video. Peace.